Welcome to Homebrewer TV. I'm sure glad you made it. Caught me having a little of my homebrew. This is what we call sizzling frog lips. It's kind of a amber ale, and I add a whole bunch of jalapeno and habanero peppers. Delicious. It's one of the crew's favorite. And I think you might enjoy it. One of these days we'll just brew up a batch together. Well, I got a bunch to share with you today, and I hope you're as excited about this stuff as I am, because I tell you, home brewing to me is one of the greatest things that I get to do. So, you stay with us, we'll be right back. No. This is not exactly a cooking show. Although I guess you could probably say what we're doing is somewhat cooking. But what I want to talk about is creating a good yeast starter. Now, most of us, I'm sure, get our yeast either as dry or liquid, white labs or Y yeast, and they all work really well. However, I really like to have my yeast to get started quickly. There's nothing worse than waiting a day and a half for something to happen. You're going, is it okay? I like it to start quickly. Within 4 or 5 hours, I want things bubbling along. So I always make a good starter, and I thought we'd talk about it. Starts out obviously with a pot. I use a little over a liter of water, so a little over a quart, into this pot. On the kitchen stove, I add a half a cup of DME. It doesn't matter if it's light or dark. It really is not going to affect your brew overall. However, if you're really fanatical, you might use the lighter for the pale ales and the dark for your darker beers. Get it boiling. Now remember, it could boil over, just like it can in a wort pot, because that's basically what we're doing. We're creating our own miniature version of a big wort boil. This is my favorite stirrer. We get to stir in this thing, get it mixed up well, and I let it boil, a good boil, for about 15 minutes. Okay? Once I'm done with a good solid boil, and probably the last minute or two, I always throw on a lid. I want it to get good and hot and steamy in there, and that helps with sanitation. What's the most important thing in having wort touch anything? It's got to be sanitized. And so I sanitize everything. So now we've boiled our little wort, like that. Little wort, big wort. We've boiled our little wort, and now it's time to cool it. Well, for this size, I end up sticking it in the sink, throwing in some cool water and some ice cubes around it, and it cools it down very quickly. I leave the lid on. I don't want anything falling in. I do a lot of testing with my hands. Just touch the side. Now we know, approximately 113 degrees is where a human goes, ouch. Lower than that, it can be uncomfortable. Hot tubs are about 104 degrees. We know what that feels like. So, I just keep feeling it, and when I figure it's cooled down enough that I can add my yeast, I'm set. So what happens? Personally, I really like using flask. So I have a couple of these flasks ready to go. Now I sanitize this flask before anything touches it. So this flask has now been totally sanitized and ready to go. I basically pour my wort into the flask. Now, you can then put on your bubble top. I use cheap vodka as my barrier liquid. Put on your top, spin it around, and your yeast is going to start working and it's going to be happy. However, I have found that I really like to get it spinning and working quicker and stay working. So I like to use a stir plate, and they're very simple. I found this particular stir plate on the internet. Found it on eBay. There was 6 of them for sale. None of them worked. 20 bucks. Well, all 6 of them were easily repaired. Paid more for the magnetic stir sticks. But sanitize this. You can do it the same time you sanitize your flask, because this needs to be added to the flask. That sits at the bottom, and as it sits on top of the stir plate, just have it as a gentle stir. You don't need a major vortex. And let it continue to stir it. This thing will go nuts and have a great time. And you're basically making beer at the time it's stirring. I do like the stir plates. Okay, couple days down the road, this thing has basically done what it's going to do. You're going to see, once you turn it off and let it settle, a much heavier amount of yeast than you could have possibly started with. And you know those yeasts are happy and healthy and are ready to turn your big wort into great beer. So, we're done with the stir plate. Take your flask. What's what I like to do? You could just pour the entire thing into your wort. I don't do it. I can't really give you a strong reason why not. I just don't. I put it the night before I'm going to brew in the refrigerator. The cold lets the yeast settle down to the bottom. Once the yeast has settled, then the next day, when I'm about ready to use it, I bring it out. I just let it warm up. Then I decant the liquid from the yeast. So in other words, I just gently pour off that wort. Don't throw it away. And what I've got is a good slurry of yeast. Now I'm ready to pitch that yeast into my big wort. And so you've got your fermenter all set up. You're ready to pitch your yeast. Here you go. Pull your top off and put your yeast in. Make sure you get as much as you can, but you will have an incredible work of yeast. What will happen is you're going to find that your fermentation will start within 3 or 4 hours, and it'll be a vigorous fermentation. You aren't going to be waiting for 24, 36, 48 hours going, oh, I hope this is working. So, yeast starters, fantastic. So easy to do, yet I think you'll find the rewards are well worth the effort put into it. Here's a little hint for this week. We have our yeast starter. We're ready to pour it into our big wort boil. That's cooled down, of course. But we also have this magnetic stirring stick, which could just fall out. We don't want it in our fermenter. Simple thing to do. Get yourself a magnet. This happens to be one that I pulled out of an old hard drive. Put the magnet here, look at there, pour it out. It holds the stir stick. You don't need to worry about it falling out. Now you're done adding your yeast to your wort. What could be easier than that? Just a little tip I thought you might enjoy. Hey, welcome to the tasting room. We're going to try a couple of stouts today. And one is from across the pond, as they say. But our first one is 8-Ball Stout. This is from Lost Coast Brewery. And I love the story on this little brewery. It was founded in 1990 as a brewery and restaurant by 2 women who were home brewers. I love that fact. I think women as home brewers do some incredible stuff. So, anyway, this is one of the beers that come out of that brewery. 8-Ball, we're going to give it a try. Now, I have to admit, personally, I do like the darker beers. But I don't like real dark bitter beers. So, let's get, ooh, I can already smell how lovely this is. Let's get started here. We're pouring it into, of course, my favorite glass. And I know we're going to talk about beer glasses at some point in our discussions. Lovely head and a lovely dark, but not totally unsee-throughable beer. This is gorgeous. Let's get a smell. Oh, this has got a malty aroma that is wonderful. And as you have probably figured out, I really do like a malty beer. I think its appearance is beautiful. We're going to give it a 2 out of 3. And as far as its aroma, like I said, I do enjoy a malty aroma, yet I can get the nice smell of hops, that fruitiness. Pretty beer. All right, on a scale of 1 to 12 as far as its aroma, I'm going to give it an 8. Now, the fun part. Tasting this lovely beer. I mean, look at it. This is beautiful. I know you keep staring it from me. I've never met a beer I didn't think was beautiful. Well, I think I have met 1 or 2, but we're going to leave the big boys out of this discussion. So, This has a delicious malt flavor. The malts definitely are on the forefront. And the way they have hopped this has provided a perfect finish. The malt actually kind of builds as you have it in the mouth. It builds some. This flavor is delicious. This is almost like a bedtime treat to have as a beautiful stout. So that is a delicious stout. And I'm going to get, we got a scale of 1 to 20. And I know I'm probably not the best judge of beers. I don't know all the exact parameters of every single style, but I do know what tastes good, and I do know what smells good. So, a scale of 1 to 20, I'm giving this a 17. All right, mouthfeel. And of course, we know mouthfeel's not a big thing to me, but I think you need to have something. Nobody wants a watery tasting beer, no matter how good it tastes. If it just kind of feels like water in your mouth, not going to work. But this one has a lovely taste. It is carbonated well. We saw this beautiful head. It's maintaining its head. Delicious mouthfeel, lovely mouthfeel. Yes, indeed, with a great finish. So, mouthfeel on a scale of 1 to 5, I'm giving it a 4. All right, overall impression. I like this beer. And even though I may be a little bit leaning toward darker beers, so what? They're delicious. And if it's not a good dark beer, and I've had a few dark stouts that I went, oh my goodness, this is terrible. But this one is delicious. I think you would really like it. And I have a feeling from what I've learned is you go check out their brewery and restaurant in Eureka, California, and you're going to find a delightful place to spend some time with friends and enjoying a beer. So my overall opinion of this beer, I'm giving it an 8. So we've got 12, 22, 29, 31. We're coming up on 39 points out of 50. I like this beer. And I think it's such a cool thing that it was 2 women who started the brewery. All right, let's get on to our next one. This is across the pond from England. Yes, indeed. A double chocolate stout. Now, I have to admit, I got the double chocolate stout because our camera operator, Rena, loves chocolate. You say chocolate, she'll do anything. So who knows? So, double chocolate stout from the Young's Brewery in England. Now, this brewery, and I love this fact about England, this brewery was started in, 1875. Just, wow. I was just a teenager. Let's see. I love the way that. Ooh. All right, we can already see that it's pouring a beautiful head. Almost too beautiful. But I'm excited. I've already gotten this slight taste, so I gotta slow myself down a little bit. Let's go for this aroma. And it is a magnificent malty aroma. And yes, it has a slight finishing touch of the fruitiness of a good hops. This smells like a delicious beer. So on our scale of 1 to 12, I'm going to give this one a 9. Its appearance. Well, it has a beautiful head, doesn't it? And it is a very lovely looking beer. Nice and dark, basically pretty opaque. I think if it was in bright sunlight, I could just start to see through it. So its appearance, as we monster scale we have here of 1 out of 3, giving it a 2. All right, I had a slight taste, and I think this is really going to be good. But here we go with the taste section. Are you guys ready? It's a shame you can't join me here. We could have some fun drinking this together. The malt flavors. This is fantastic. This is really good beer. I'm not a big one to put chocolate into it. I am not a chocolate person. But if you put a little chocolate in it, it might be okay. This has this wonderful caramely taste. So it's almost like a chocolate caramely flavor that's just magnificent, and it is perfectly balanced with the hops. Not too hoppy, allowing the malt to really come out. It has a lovely sweetness. This is a delicious beer. Okay, I'm giving it an 18 out of 20. Mouthfeel. Again, I want something that really stands up and says something to my mouth. I don't want that watery taste. This has a delightful mouthfeel. It doesn't suddenly erupt in carbonation that wants to make you fill your mouth and you all of a sudden have to swallow. It just slowly erupts with flavor. The mouthfeel is delightful, and it's getting a 4 out of 5. So my overall impression, well, if you're a chocolate lover, you are really going to love this beer. If you're a stout lover, you're really going to love this beer. If you're with me, you're really going to love this beer. This is delicious. If you get a chance to find it, and obviously we found it out here in Reno, Nevada, it's got to be elsewhere. The Double Chocolate Stout, Young's Brewery. 8-Ball Stout from Lost Coast Brewery. I'm not comparing the two of them. I don't want to, but I'm going to drink both of them. They are magnificent. Give them a try. I think you'll really enjoy them. And I can't wait to test our next two. We'll see you next time. Thanks for letting me share a little bit of time with you about a passion we obviously both have, home brewing. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. And I love hearing from you. Hit the comments word below here and leave me a comment, or I'll also see you on various forums that I so enjoy visiting with you guys. So, to home brewing, looks like I need to do a little freshening up on this beer. Till next time, keep on brewing.